A victim is somebody who has either been injured or lost somebody from their family or a friend or whatever. There's nothing wrong with the word victim. That's what a victim is. A perpetrator is completely different. Now, I don't have a problem calling myself a victim. People like to call themselves a survivor. I'm a survivor, but I don't choose to use that word because it takes away from the victimhood of what actually happened. Not personally to me, but to my community and to my family. And that is something I will not allow to be removed, because that again is about writing history. That once you moved away from the victimhood, to have you into a mode where you're now a survivor, well, the victim issue then is not an issue.
I've never actually saw myself really as a victim. I mean, I'm part of that victim constituency, obviously, because of what happened to my wife. I mean, my wife was a victim of the Shankill bomb. You know, I've lost my wife, and so I suppose I've been affected as well. But I mean, I haven't let it keep me back from going on and doing other things with my life. And I mean, I think most people that know me would probably agree that I'm quite progressive on all of these issues. I have been hurt, been damaged. You know, I've lost my wife, I've lost my father-in-law. My daughter has lost a mother. So we've definitely suffered, there's absolutely no doubt about that. But you know, the other side of the coin is that I have gone on and have done things in my life that I would never probably have done had it not have happened. I'm not suggesting for a moment that, you know, it was good that it happened. Of course it wasn't, and I mean, I would give it all back just to have some more time with Sharon and for Zoe to have her mother there. But you know, we can't obviously do that. So, you know, in terms of the question about is it, you know, how do you define a victim and survivor? Well, obviously, you know, someone from my circumstances would fit very easily into that category. It's probably less clear cut the further out you go, and particularly when you actually get into the whole realm of perpetrators and their perpetrators, victims and survivors. And I mean, my attitude to that is that in some sense they are, you know, because I don't believe they would have been involved in the things that they were involved in had they have lived elsewhere in the UK. But to actually put them on the same page as someone like myself, I think is wrong. And if I could just make this really crystal for people, let's take the Shankill Road bomb, where I lost my wife and my father-in-law. Thomas Begley was killed in that bomb. So when we ask this question about who's a victim, is Thomas Begley a victim? Well, in some senses he is. I mean, his mother has lost a son. His father has lost his son. No, his family have lost a loved one. But he planned that bomb, he carried it out, he perpetrated it. So in terms of comparing Thomas Begley with my wife, who was totally innocent, just in the wrong place at the wrong time, you can't even begin to put them on the same page in terms of, you know, guilt or innocence. My wife was completely innocent, but I do recognise that, you know, that the Begley family have lost someone. In fact, if I'm being totally honest with you, I would rather be in my position than to be Mrs. Begley, who not only lost a son, but actually had to live with the knowledge that her son caused the lives of 9 other people.
Dennis Bradley stated they were all victims. I didn't see too many victims from Malone Road or Helens Bay or Crawfordsburn during the years of troubles. It was a working class thing. Working class people from the Protestant side and Catholic side killing each other. And the unfortunate thing about it, or the disgusting thing about it was, to a large extent, the security forces were controlling the killers. I've met many victims, went to some homes, and both Protestant and Catholic, and break your heart. The politicians want to go to those homes. They attend the funerals for brownie points for them. For many of the victims, families, and I think they'll all tell you, they never see these politicians again. You know, but you go and visit these people and watch them sitting there heartbroken, weeks later, months later, years later. You know, and everyone's made up in a different way. Some can cope better than others.
The day, the hour that our grandfather was murdered in McCurk's bar, that set us on a journey. We didn't want to go on that journey, but I mean, it was bad enough trying to deal with 15 men, women and children being murdered by the UVF. But then to be told by the media, by politicians, by the police, by the army, that your grandfather, instead of being a 75-year-old man who was going out for a pint of Guinness, that he was some sort of IRA bomber. Do you know what I mean? Was just slurring his and the rest of those people who were murdered in McGurk's. So our quest, our journey, is to find the truth, to have his name, all the other names, the hundreds of other names who've been affected by the issues of collusion and state murder, because collusion is as much about cover-up as it is about the actual kills themselves. So until all those truths are told, we can't stop, because we have nowhere to go. Do you understand? This isn't something that we want to do. We feel compelled on behalf of those who have lost, our loved ones who were murdered. They can't speak. We have to fight and to speak and to get the truth on their behalf. And that's what we will do until we get it.
I mean, my own particular journey was unique to me, obviously. I mean, I can't claim to say I'm the only person that has travelled that road. I don't know that I ever felt hatred at all. I certainly felt anger, and in the early days, I mean, I think it's quite well known that I would have, you know, picketed Gerry Adams and Sinn Féin offices, would have followed them around New York, Boston and Washington when they were given the right to fundraise there. So I have had quite a high profile role in terms of campaigning against terrorist organisations, not just the Sinn Féin and the IRA, but also loyalists as well. But as time went on and I started to do my own reflections and had various experiences and met with various people, I mean, I think that I changed my stance, not to being one where it was okay to be a terrorist, because I don't think it is, and I'm still opposed to terrorism in every shape or form. But I now have an understanding of why people got involved in the things that they got involved in. That doesn't justify why they got involved in those things, but it helps me to perhaps understand that, you know, if we target the root cause of the troubles, which for me is very much steeped in sectarianism, well then I think that we're halfway there to actually building peace.
People mightn't believe this, but I actually, because I have actually seen so much and come through so much, and I'm not putting a label on it myself, I have seen nearly every incident that you can see, or been in every type of incident that you would want to be in. And I can assure you, I do not want my family, my nephews, I have 35 nephews and nieces. I do not want them, and a son of my own, I do not want them to come through what I come through from I was 11 years of age. And there's no way that I am prepared to stand back and allow that to happen. Now, I wish I could wake up in the morning and everything is okay in this country, where we're no longer living under a threat. But see, the problem is, the threat has not been removed from our head. There's still a threat out there that until Republicans achieve their goal, they have still got the right to use violence. And this is what a lot of people don't understand. People will say, well, what's language? Well, if language is not important, why use some of the language that is used? And yes, I do look at people and say, you know, it's well for them, they've moved on and all that. But the majority of them are people who are living in areas that are not continually being intimidated, or where there's continuing activity going on by Republicans, although you're not allowed to say that because they don't exist any longer. But that's in people's minds. In reality, they do exist. We need resources to build up the trust and to help deal with the suffering and pain. To give you an example, there's a man joined our group this week. Now, we've been out there for 10 years. There's people joining every day, our organisation. But one man in particular joined this week, and it really sunk home to me how important it was. He lost his legs 25 years ago in an undercarriage booby-trap bomb. He's been in a wheelchair with no legs for 25 years. That man feels worse now than he did after the bomb. And people will say, well, why? You know, we're living in peace. Why does he feel like that? Because he's no legs. He's sitting in a wheelchair. His family life has been completely destroyed. His whole family surrounding has been completely turned upside down.